So Xiaomi has hit the UK really hard these past 12 months, launching loads of its own brand smartphones and a few of its sub-branded stuff as well, such as the Pocos and of course the Redmis. This here Note 7 handset is one of the more premium Redmi mobiles available right now, boasting a 48MP rear camera, a spacious Full HD display, strong battery life and a colourful Wii design. And yet the asking price is just 180 quid on the likes of Amazon.co.uk. So is the Redmi Note 7 one of the best budget blowers of 2019? Well, I've been using it as my full-time personal handset for a few days now, and here is my in-depth review. And for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech, please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now, sticking the word Note in the name of a phone conjures up images of an oversized lump that won't squeeze into your trouser pocket without giving you a seriously scandalous gait. So I was quite relieved to find out that the Redmi Note 7 is actually just 6.3 inches in size. And yes, I know the placement of the word just in that sentence seems kind of weird, but let's face it, in the current climate with smartphone sizes going through the roof, 6.3 inches makes the Note 7 pretty much a midget. Those surrounding bezels aren't particularly skinny, of course. The Note 7 is definitely still a handful, but it's a comfortable handful at least, so to speak. That Huawei-style gradient design on the shiny rear end is attractive enough, adding a pleasant splash of vibrancy, and so far no scratches or scuffs have appeared to mar that appearance. You do actually get a transparent cover generously bundled in the box with the Redmi Note 7 as well, but I left that off for the duration of my testing, and so far, touch wood, that Gorilla Glass 5 surfacing which coats the front and the back of the phone seems to be doing its job nicely. That 6.3 inch IPS screen is very easy on the eye, offering bright visuals and full colour customization to boot. The Full HD Plus resolution means you get a reasonably sharp picture despite the size of that panel, and it's a near full view experience as well, with just a dinky wee notch poking its way into view when you zoom into a photo or go full screen in YouTube. On the audio front, all of your sound is pumped out of a single bottom firing speaker. There's no stereo speaker setup as you'd expect around this sort of price point, but for a budget blaster it's actually pretty powerful. Of course, for all of your music needs you will want to stick in a pair of headphones, and the good news on that front is 3.5mm headphone jack, motherfucker! A Snapdragon 660 platform powers the mighty Note 7, backed by 4 gigs of RAM, and that's plenty of grunt to do all of the basics pretty well. I certainly wasn't ever frustrated by jittery performance, although of course the Redmi isn't exactly super smooth all of the time. You can stream videos though while checking your emails or whatever, and while gaming isn't exactly this handset's forte, the likes of PUBG plays on medium detail settings with a not too shonky frame rate. Those with faster phones will have the advantage, and I did occasionally find that the screen's responsiveness was somewhat lacking, but you know what, this phone will do the job nicely enough on a budget. And great news on that battery front as well. The high capacity 4000mAh cell delivers all day life, so you never need to cast anxious glances at that power meter. Even with pretty much non-stop use, I found that the Redmi Note 7 always lasted me until I was tucked up with Teddy. On one particularly intensive day I used it to stream VR movies for about an hour or so, I used the camera for a good couple of hours, even had a cheeky blast on PUBG Mobile at lunch, and I still had juice remaining by the time I finally hit the hay. Of course, one bugbear that I do have with Xiaomi phones is the slightly shonky software. MiUI definitely still feels a wee bit rough around the edges compared with many rivals, especially the likes of Emotion UI and Zen UI, which have made great leaps forward in recent incarnations. I'm not necessarily saying that MiUI sucks harder than your mum on a Saturday night, I'm just saying that whenever I get a Xiaomi branded handset, or a sub-brand in this case, I immediately have to download an Android launcher such as CPL and slap it on there just to get basic features like a bloody apps tray back. And all of the other little quirks are present and correct as well, like notification icons occasionally not bothering to appear in the status bar, meaning I was constantly missing messages that were waiting. So yeah, Android launchers for the win. Now, a lot of mid-range handsets now come with 48MP lenses slapped on the back, and despite being a more budget offering, the Note 7 does the same. Here it's an f1.8 aperture lens backed by a 5MP depth sensor for all of your portrait shots. You can actually capture pics at that full 48MP resolution as well using the Pro mode, although the default shooting mode combines pixels for a brighter snap instead. For a sub £200 phone, this is a solid all-round snapper. Just remember to turn off that bloody watermark, which is frustratingly toggled on by default. Urgh! That face detection autofocus is nice and nippy, guaranteeing crisp photos of your chosen subject. Quality is strong all round, with respectably natural colour reproduction and detail levels as well, although in HDR situations you can expect those lighter elements to be blown out a bit. And indoor snaps can also look pretty grainy if the place isn't lit up like a Christmas tree. You get a dedicated night mode for those low light shots, and again this impresses, offering a more detailed, balanced shot. You'll still get lots of grain on the go, but much better than the results from the auto mode. And of course there is a portrait mode as well, which makes use of that depth sensor to blur the background, although to be honest it is a rather subtle bokeh style effect. You can shoot video at up to full HD level, there's no 4K resolution option sadly, and the results are much the same. You get bold but natural looking colours in daylight and a bit of grain creeping in when you move indoors, and forget about shooting at night entirely. Audio quality is absolutely fine, but image stabilisation leaves an awful lot to be desired, so definitely don't move around too much as you shoot. And that selfie cam once again does the job just fine. You have a portrait mode which cleanly picks out your silhouette despite the single 13 megapixel lens, and even when you're shooting against strong light, your gorgeous face, or in my case my haggard looking mug, won't be a murky mess. So after using the Redmi Note 7 as my full-time phone, would I recommend it to anyone after a dependable budget snapper? Well, the only caveat here is the shonky software. MiUI still has an awful lot of growing up to do, although you can at least patch it over with a launcher. And the hardware here is frankly fantastic considering that you're stumping up less than 200 quid. So would I recommend the Redmi Note 7 then? Hell yes I would. Yeah, but it does have stiff competition. Go check out my full roundup of the best budget smartphones under £200, which I did about a couple of weeks ago, to see some of the strongest rivals out there. Definitely a lot of great budget handsets emerging in 2019. And for more of the latest and greatest mobile tech, please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers everyone, love you!